Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing a Cook With Me series video, and you might be wondering, why am I in the home office for a Cook With Me series video? And the answer to that is actually kind of makes some sense to me. If you guys paid any attention to any of my other videos, especially within the Cook With Me series, there's going to be some videos and some recipes that I share where I feel like I have a knowledge and a recipe to share, something I've worked on for a fair amount of time, like something I might be able to actually teach with. There are going to be other recipes where I don't have that same skill set. I'm learning something new for the first time, and I want to give something a go because I really want to try it, or I want to take what's amazing at a restaurant, try to replicate it here at home. That's today's example with this video. So come along for the ride while I kind of learn something new and try to figure out how to make an amazing Italian beef sandwich inspired from, any Italian beef sandwich shop that probably been there for 70 plus years and doing it well every day in Chicago. That's what we're going for. I might not make that mark, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to learn something along the way. And at minimum, I've made the easier version of this sandwich before. You get some great crusty bread. There's some, I've used the really great roast beef before, and I've made the homemade beef stock before to try work on making this au jus for it. So if you can take some of those things from things I've done before and apply some of those principles to creating this other type of, this restaurant-worthy sandwich here at home, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day what we're going to come up with is going to be something amazing for dinner, and that's going to be the delicious part. But I want to learn something new as a result of it and continue to, figure out how I can continue to make this better. If there are people who have made an amazing Italian beef sandwich before and you want to leave some information in the comments, please do. Again, I'm poking through this because I love this sandwich. I want to learn how to make it. I want it to be something that's really, really good that I can make for other people, and they'll be like, wow, where did you make this? I know there are going to be multiple parts to this, but today's video is just the beef itself with the jus. I have not made my homemade jardiniere yet. I'll get there. I'll probably link it somewhere within these videos when I do that. But I do have some jardiniere that I purchased at the store. I know. But I haven't made mine yet. But that's kind of the fun of these series, right? You can figure some stuff out and link it together. Continue to do some research. Continue to take in some information from good people willing to share some thoughts with you on that. And see what you can come up with, right? So that's what we're doing today, armed with a little bit of research, a little bit of know-how, sometimes a lot of bit of know-how, just because I like learning and I've developed some skills over the years. How can we put that together and make this Italian beef sandwich? And I purchased everything a few days before. A few days before, I wasn't necessarily worried about potentially Tropical Storm Danielle in the Gulf right now. I'm a little bit worried about that. I think we're going to be fine, knock on wood, I hope, with power and things like that, but it seems like here in South Texas, anytime it rains even just a little bit, or it gets, just cold just a little bit, and it's not cold today, it's probably in the upper 80s right now, just with the wind blowing, and it's starting to get really gusty for the tropical storm, but that's coming in. But hopefully, I think it's just going to be, there's a lot of storm surge over by SPI. We should, I hope, be okay here. But that's what we're going to do. It's going to rain at minimum. So why not find something fun to do in the house while I'm stuck inside while it's raining? And today is the day. Italian beef. Let's go get to cooking while we still have power here in South Texas. Let's get after it. Welcome back. And what we have here, we have some top round. And what we're going to be making today, like I mentioned in the opening, I am piecing this recipe together based upon some knowledge that I have and some learning that I have done. So that's what we're doing. We're going to make some Italian beef, top round. And what I'm going to do is cut this in half into these two pieces. And then the next step is going to be to sear the sides. What we're going to be looking for is that crust on the exterior. Okay, I'm going to use my cast iron Dutch oven here. I've put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of the pan. When that starts to bubble, just ever so slightly, that's, to me, is going to tell me when the bottom is hot enough for me to get a good sear on all sides. I'll just have to probably put one in at a time, but eventually they're both going to go into the pot. I'm going to add some stock that I had already made and had some in the freezer, and I have defrosted it, and I'm going to add some stock to this, and then it's going to kind of cook in its own juices in the oven for a little bit. But right now, what I'm looking for here is I want to see a little bit of bubble within the olive oil that I've put in there, and then I'm going to sear. Okay, I think we are ready But you know what will tell us for sure? The sound and the sizzle. That's what we're looking for. So I just try to sear it on all sides. Now, it's going to be nice to have that crust that forms, right? But probably more than anything, I'm also looking for the brown bits, the fond that develops on the bottom here, because that is going to be flavored. All right, everybody, it has been about an hour. I'm going to take the temperature of this. What we're hoping for is about 140, 145, once like in the center there with the temperature, because we're going to wrap it up and then we're going to let it cool. And we're going to reserve the stock here, this that we put in here, because that's going to be the jus, the au jus that we're going to develop. Okay. So what we're hoping here with this au jus, so this is the beef broth. There's some Italian seasoning in there. This is the liquid that the top round was cooking in. I do need to let this cool. Now, the reason I was shooting for 140 degrees with that beef on the internal temperature is because when it's time for dinner, I'm going to come back, I'm going to slowly reheat this and hopefully just try to develop some more flavor, right? And we're going to be slicing really thin some of that beef, and then we're going to be putting it in here to warm it up for service, I guess, but to eat. Put it on some crusty bread with that jardiniere, and that's what's going to be for dinner. I do have a couple of things to do. I think I might need to be running up to work here in a little bit to see if I need to put sandbags out at work for insert tropical storm, whatever. But when I come back, dinner. Okay, so this has been resting and cooling a little bit. We see a little bit of crust has formed. But what I really want to do now is see, and I need to make a mandolin. I just want to see about slicing this as thin as I possibly can. And we're going to slice off enough for a sandwich that I can put back in that au jus and see if I can't make an amazing sandwich out of it. I'm going to go ahead and taste this. It's pretty good. I pick up a little bit of flavor from some of the seasoning within the beef stock that I had. I think I need to concentrate on trying to get this as thin of a slice as possible. Seriously, a mandolin is one of my next purchases. Hang tight, we'll be right back. this a little taste. It's deep, it's rich. I feel like it probably doesn't have quite the same Italian seasoning flavor. I might have to work on that a little bit. There's a couple of pieces of beef that must have fallen off when I was pulling it out of the pan in here. But it's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is going to be a good au jus to dip my bread in. It's going to be good to reheat the thin sliced beef in for my sandwich. Just testing a bite of the bread out within the au jus. Let's see how we did. The bread is good. It is, again, so I didn't make my homemade jardiniere. I will do that for sure for next time. I'm still learning a little bit more about bread making, so that may be a future video. But I got this like crusty loaf from the grocery store. It's not bad. The exterior is kind of crusty, the interior is kind of soft, so it's gonna hopefully hold up to the sandwich in general, right? But it's pretty good dipped in here, so I think this is what we're gonna roll with when I make the sandwich. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some of the thinly sliced beef and put it in there. I'm gonna let it start to reheat a little bit. And then we're gonna start to construct our sandwich. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna slowly start to pull this beef out of the au jus. I wish I could have gotten it like sliced a little bit thinner, like almost shaved. I feel like that's probably a little bit more traditional in terms of how they serve this sandwich in Chicago. But that's okay. I don't have a mandolin at the moment. I will be getting one. This is a lot of au jus. I might have overestimated on the beef broth here, but that's okay. All in a learning experience. Okay, like I mentioned, jardiniere, homemade jardiniere. I've attempted it once before. I wasn't necessarily thinking about it this particular week in terms of the time and the context that I was thinking about. So I was thinking about beef first, jardiniere second. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use some of this store-bought jardiniere. Again, I'm looking forward to making my own video. I have a recipe that I've tinkered with just a little, not a lot, I'll admit, admittedly not a lot, but I'm looking forward to showcasing that recipe, and I'll link it eventually within this video. But for today's sandwich, because I was just focusing on the beef, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this chopped up and put onto the beef sandwich. So this is our finished product with the Italian beef. We'll come back at the end and do a quick review. All right, let's dig in. The jardiniere is good. I mean, it's good. It's store-bought, it's good. But I would really like to figure out a better recipe of my own for something just like this. The au jus, the original beef stock was already pretty flavorful. Adding some of the Italian seasoning helped quite a bit. I think I got a little bit, I think I left it in the liquid a little bit long to recook, I guess. It's good. It's not quite as tender as I would have hoped for, but I can fix that. And the bun itself is holding up fairly well to the au jus. Let's dig in. I'm trying not to open my mouth while I still have food in it. Overall, it's good, but it's not the sandwich that I had the last time I was in South Chicago. I've been living in South Texas for a little over 5 years now, so it's been a handful of years since I've been in Chicago to have one of these sandwiches. And before the last time I had it, it was a few years before that. But I've had it in a lot of restaurants that have tried to replicate this. And all the while, it's been good. Don't get me wrong, it's been good. But, you know, someplace like John's or like Italian Beef in Chicago, I think that's what I'm striving for. And I may never replicate. And that's okay. Like, that's the part of the fun is part of the hunt, right? Because you still get to eat something that's really good along the way. But certainly pay tribute to the people that have been doing it so well for so long. And, you know, refine my skills. Thanks for joining me today. And until next time, be sure to live life outside of the work that you do. And in the case of the Cook With Me series, be sure to feed yourself well.